right here in our area, Broward County, and she was on board with Hope Women's Center. She was a part of the board right early on. In September 2000, Nancy she joined the staff as a director of development, and in February of 2002, she was asked to take the helm, and Nancy gladly accepted. Now, since those years, from 2002 until today, Nancy has been leading Hope Women's Centers through monumental changes and transformation and development. I'm sure she's going to share some of that right now with us. But whenever you're in ministry, especially at that level, you need a great support system, don't you? And I know Nancy has that. And part of that great support system, and I know she's a support system as well, to her husband, Steve McDonald, who's an attorney in the area of over 46 years. Together, they have 3 children and 4 grandchildren, and a heart to serve the Lord right here in South Florida. Please join me in welcoming Nancy McDonald.
Are you having a good time? Good, good. That's what we want you to do. I have one friend on stage with me because I wanted to prove to you that I do have a friend. I don't work all the time. And I'm bringing another friend up because these 2 ladies are the beginnings of hope. And they like each other too. On my left is Margie Richardson. Margie started in 1987. She was the original director who led the Fort Lauderdale Center. And Hope wouldn't be Hope without Margie. Margie still volunteers for us today. She worked until 2016. She said, I think I need to retire. And about 2 weeks later, she said, can I come and volunteer now? I said, okay. On my right is Dottie Waub. Dottie was hired in 1991 to lead a fledgling ministry in Hollywood-Davie area, started by a group of Hollywood churches. And she became the executive director of the new ministry. Dottie, can you remember what our name was? It was a long name. It was Reach Out for Life, doing business as the Crisis Pregnancy Center of South Broward. Catchy. We weren't marketing geniuses back then. But tonight I wanted both of them to come up. I've got some fun slides to share with you guys. If you'll put the slideshow up. Now remember when we opened, we were not a medical facility yet. But here we have Margie with one of our first clients, delivered the baby at the hospital. No, she didn't deliver the baby. She went to be with Antoinette because Antoinette had nobody else. So Margie was doing everything, cleaning the center, scrubbing the toilets, ministering to the clients. Then in 1992, Margie had her moments of fame. She hosted Vice President Dan Quayle and led a discussion group with Vice President Quayle and several of her clients who brought their babies. And I know that was a real high point. But recently, Margie shared with me when we were talking about the memories in the past, she said that one of the greatest joys of her life was sharing the gospel with these young women, and nothing gave her more joy when they chose life and they chose Jesus. And this is a picture of Juliet. Juliet's little boy that you see there is 30 years old today, almost 30 years old, and has a strong faith in Christ because Margie led his mother to Jesus. Now this building that just disappeared. No, this building came along a few years later. I told you in 1991, the board of directors of Reach Out for Life, doing business as Crisis Pregnancy Center of South Broward, hired Dottie Waub, and this is the first place we rented. It was 800 square feet, and it included a storage room for baby clothes. How did we ever do it? This is a picture on the left of Dottie taking the first client phone call. I went with her by the center to see if the phones had been installed, and we don't know how the number got out, but somebody was calling us, and Dottie took that call. Now, I wish I could truthfully tell you that that call Dottie took was from one of our first clients who had her baby, but I'm not sure that's accurate, is it? No. What a great story. I hate to miss up those chances. But it was a tough case. We have such incredible beginnings, and hope is who we are today because of these two ladies who got the ball started and planted the vision. Now I'm going to ask you all to do something that you might not want to do, but humor me because I have this vision and I'll be so disappointed if it doesn't come true. I want to start recognizing groups of people who contributed to the early days of this ministry. So when I describe the group that you fit into, I'd just like you to stand up where you are and remain standing. And at the end, we're going to have almost everybody standing up, and then we're going to applaud and give God the glory for what he's done. So first of all, I want to recognize those churches who got together back in 1986, 1987, because they saw a growing need to address the problem of abortion in our culture. They were visionaries. They dreamed big dreams. They wanted to start a crisis pregnancy center, and they didn't even know what one was. So you've got to hand it to people like that. So if you were part of the group of churches, I know I don't have a complete list in front of me, but I know it was Coral Ridge and First Baptist Fort Lauderdale and First Church West. If you believe your church was part of that, one of those churches, or if you were part of that founding board of directors, I know that we have a few of the members of that first board of directors. Would you join Dottie and Margie and stand? That's right. Oh, I was going to tell you to hold your applause to the end. Hold your applause to the end, or I won't get to the last part of my story. The next people I want to recognize who will join these who are standing are volunteers. You know, in the beginning, there was no budget for staff. If Margie couldn't do it, we had to train a volunteer to do it. So with a handful of volunteers, they just dug right in and started counseling women and leading them to Christ and helping them choose life. So if you volunteered back then at that first center, or if you volunteered at any time since then, or are currently volunteering, would you please stand up? That's right. No applause, no applause. Not yet, it's not time. As we became a little more successful, we started hiring people, paying them to come to work at Hope. In the beginning, they had to pay us to come to work. But if you have or are currently serving on staff at Hope, please stand. Okay? And then, no, wait, only one more group. And these are, all of you can stand at this point, because if you haven't given yet, we sure hope you will tonight. But it's the donors, the people who have financed the vision, who have believed with passion in the cause. We couldn't be here. I say that all the time when I write you thank you letters, when I do blogs or posts and tell you we couldn't do this without you. Do you know how true that is? It's true, 100%. We could not do this without you. So if you're still seated, now it's time to stand. Now it's time to applause and say, thank you, Jesus, for what you've done in Broward County. So the past is rich, but what about the future? We don't think God is finished with Hope yet. And we do have dreams for the future. And I want to quickly tell you about 3 of those visions tonight, because I know that you're going to want to be a part of it. The first thing is that we want to reinstate a program that was active from about 2003 to 2008, and that was our Men of Hope program. At that time, it was primarily focused on abortion recovery for men. Today, we've learned through research that the most influential person on a woman's decision whether to abort or choose life is the father of the baby. So our Men of Hope program will be focused on the crisis pregnancy, training men to talk to these young men, to speak life to them, to tell them about the calling that God's put on every man's life to provide and protect for his children. In order to do that, we're going to have to hire some guys. I have the perfect guy in my mind. He's, like a part-time youth pastor or student pastor at a church who can't do a full-time pastor, and he's cool, and he's going to go out and say, hey, you want to come back and have a cup of coffee? Somebody who can relate to the millennial young men who are coming in our centers. And believe me, they are coming. Last year alone, 1,347 men accompanied their partners to our centers for their appointment. And all we could do was give them a comfortable chair to sit in and give them a sports or auto magazine, because we had no men there to speak life to them. So we're looking for men to volunteer, men who are passionate about life, men who are passionate about this generation, who is so casual about sex, who is so casual about decisions that will last a lifetime. So Men of Hope, big initiative for this year. We need your help. Second thing, and I think this has been a long time coming, we want to open a new center in southwestern Broward County. Those western suburbs have grown and grown, and there are thousands of women who live between our Davie Center and the Heartbeat Center in Hialeah, which is 32 miles away, who need our services, and we want to be there for them. So we're looking for new churches in the southwestern area of Broward County. We're looking for new donors in the southwestern area of Broward County, because this county is so big, and we've prayed for years, God, give us Broward, the whole county. And then the last, but certainly not the least, initiative we are already walking into, and that's a new program that's been made available to us through a cooperative effort between the state of Florida and the Department of Health. We've been offering STI testing and treatment to our abortion-minded clients for some time now, but we only offer it to abortion-minded women because we've been paying the lab fees. But now the health department, through a legislative effort, is going to cover the lab fees for us. They believe it's such a critical thing to offer this service to young women. And we're very fortunate right now that we have a pro-life legislature. And this is their thinking, if you'll follow me for a minute. Planned Parenthood offers other medical services besides abortion. They like to publicize those medical services. The legislature believes that that's why women go back to Planned Parenthood when they're facing an unplanned pregnancy, because they know them. They've been there before. They feel comfortable there. They are hoping that helping pro-life centers offer this service will do the same thing for us. It'll disarm the women. They won't be afraid of us. They will know who we are. They will receive compassionate care when they come to our centers. So this is huge, and they'll reimburse us for the lab tests. So we've opened that up as of the 7th of this month to all of our pregnancy test patients. The second part of the expanded medical services is also in cooperation with the state. Just in the last few days, we've been able to offer any woman, as long as she's 18, uninsured, and hasn't had a physical exam for a year, we're able to offer her a referral for a well woman visit to a pro-life physician of our choice, and she's covered, costs her nothing. She gets the first visit, she gets lab work paid for by the state, and she gets up to 2 follow-up visits. This could expand our client database in ways we're not even sure we can imagine, but it's a huge opportunity. So in order to take advantage of these opportunities, we need to train more volunteers. That new center in Southwest Broward is going to need people to be there to meet the need. And the last thing I want to tell you about, and it's not a new initiative at all, but I believe it's one of the most important things we do, and it concerns what I like to call a hidden treasure in the field of pregnancy center work, and that's our abortion recovery ministry. You know, people ask me sometimes, well, I just don't know how to respond to abortion. It seems so political, or people always seem angry when they talk about it. You know, how should I respond? I said, well, let me tell you how we respond at Hope. We respond in 3 different ways. The first way we respond is prevention. When we have a client who gets a negative pregnancy test, we talk to her about changing her lifestyle so she won't have to face the fear of an unplanned pregnancy. The second way we respond is through intervention. When they come to us and they are pregnant, we offer options counseling to them, where we talk through them with what all their choices are and how they can make decisions and where they can get support from the community. The third way we respond to abortion is through reconciliation, and that's our abortion recovery program. And I could talk about it forever because I just believe it's one of the most unbelievable things we do to actually see God change a person's life.